First and foremost, call line ma, Ahina, when Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Harakakadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and early grade millstone who want to teach on the hardest on the wrong to the left. Alright, as the title of the lesson is, you can see it says war is brewing up, right? And I'm going to read a few articles. They got like 3 or 4 different articles. I might just do 2 articles today and 2 articles another day. Just depends on what happens when I start going. But I got some news articles about war, alright? But let me read some scriptures. Let me read the scripture first. It says here, 2 Ezra 9:1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is in the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And we are walking or coming into those times where the Lord is going to visit this place, okay? When you see in the Bible sometimes where it says visit, all right, it means to bring judgment, okay? Because the Lord, Yahweh Shai, is going to bring judgment to the people of the world, all right? And the judgment ultimately is a horrific thing, the things that the Lord is going to do, all right? People are going to die by starvation. People are going to be, mowed down in the streets, killed with the sword. The sword can be any type of killing instrument, okay? All right? The Lord's going to have World War III going on, the thermonuclear missiles, all right? And then you have the Lord himself coming to do the damage that he's going to do. It's going to be very horrible out here, all right? But that's not the point of the lesson. The point of the lesson is to show you a sign before the Lord's return, and one of the signs are wars, okay? All right? Let me get this in Mark the 13th chapter. Sloppy. This is Mark chapter 13. We'll start at verse 1. It says, signs of the end. As he went out of the temple, one of his disciples said unto him, Master, see what manner of stones and what building are here. And Yahushua answering said unto him, seest thou these great buildings? There shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. As he sat upon the Mount of Olives over against the temple, Peter and James and John and Andrew asked him privately, Tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign when all these things shall be fulfilled? When these things shall be fulfilled. And Yahushua answering, then began to say, Take heed lest any man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. You got false prophets out there doing that. They're talking about they teaching in the name of the Lord. All right, when they're not even teaching in the name of the Lord. They're mentioning Jesus Christ. All right. They don't tell you about certain prophetic things that are in the scripture and what it relates to in common time, okay, in the time that we're living in now. Just for an example, verse 7 is a point. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be not troubled, for such things must needs be, but the end shall not be yet. All right, and this is what we're going to talk about. So one of the articles that I'm reading out here today, all right, come on, look through these ads. directed me to open up the app. And I open up the app. Let me see. Alright, here goes one of them. It says Venezuela completely surrounded by U.S. ships. Now, the thing with Venezuela and the U.S., all right, we all know that America wants to go around and pillaging the lands for its resources, okay? And that's what is happening with the Iraq-Afghanistan war, in a sense, okay? And they have created false pretenses to invade or conduct strikes on Venezuela in regards to drug running or drug boats coming out of Venezuela towards America. Okay, and they said fentanyl is a drug that has been coming from Venezuela. If I'm speaking correctly, I can't remember, right? But at the end of the day, we know it's about the oil, right? And Donald Trump said it himself. Okay. He was saying, hey, we want our oil back. There were some oil companies that were kicked out of Venezuela. Okay, and Trump is trying to get them back in there. Let's see. It's not here.
Living with Harriet. Would you look at that?
I cannot find it. Where did it go? Alright, so I'm gonna just read the article because what I'm trying to find in the realm of social media, it's not pulling up. Alright, so this says here, Venezuela completely surrounded by U.S. warships, Trump says. President Trump said Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada in South American history. One that Trump threatened will only get bigger until the return of oil, land, and other assets he claims belongs to the United States. All right, let me get a scripture. All right, because he's going around claiming something that does not belong to him. All right, even though the earth is giving it to his hands. All right, and he's going to take the resources. All right, let me see. What's Habakkuk there? This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4. It says, behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. All right. Who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. All right, and he's trying to take these individuals' resources, okay, by the means of war. All right, he's saying that the land and the assets that's over there and the oil, they belong to the United States. All right, and he's trying to provoke Venezuela into attacking. All right, it says here the illegitimate Maduro regime is using oil from these stolen oil fields to finance themselves. Drug terrorism, human trafficking, murder, kidnapping, Trump brought on social media. It says here, Venezuela's government released a statement Tuesday accusing Trump of violating international law, free trade, and the principle of free navigation in response. The U.S. has sent more than 10 warships, a nuclear-powered submarine, drones, and at least 15,000 troops to the region since the summer, with a goal of stopping an alleged drug trafficking alleged drug trafficking boats. Since the administration Operation Southern Spear campaign began in September, 25 strikes on accused on suspected boats that on suspected boats have left at least 95 dead. Land strikes are a potential next step, with Trump teasing in recent weeks that they could come very soon. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have expressed concern about military action inside Venezuela, especially if it were to culminate in a U.S. involved regime change in the South American country. The latest escalation comes after months of intermittent strikes on boats, including a contested follow-up strike on survivors of a September 2nd attack. All right, who cares about Pete Hegseth and all this other stuff that they're talking about in there? But it's just, this article was to read to you that war is brewing up. Okay, all right, whether it be based on the guise of the oil rigs, okay, or the oil and the other assets there, or these strikes on these drug boats that they claim are trafficking drugs into the United States. Nonetheless, these are causes, they can be causes, but ultimately it's war, and it's a telltale sign that we are getting closer and closer to the end of things, okay? Another article in regards to the war, all right? Let's see here. All right, here goes the one I was looking for at first. It says it came up. Russia massing 360,000 troops near Europe's borders, German lawmaker warns. All right, Russia warned to be massing over 360,000 troops near Europe's borders as focus turns to Belarus. A German lawmaker has warned that Russia is concentrating a large force near Europe's border, including in Belarus, as European officials argue the continent is entering a more dangerous phase of confrontation with Moscow. 2 Army Corps stations in Belarus totaling 350,000 to 360,000 battle-ready soldiers. War is coming, all right? World War III is coming. The warning attributed to German MP Roderick Kieswetter describes 2 Army Corps stationed in Belarus, amounting to 350,000 to 360,000 battle-ready soldiers, with the buildup presented as especially concerning for the Baltic region. 2 Army Corps stationed in Belarus, totaling 350 to 360,000 battle-ready soldiers, are also described. Soldiers. Kieswetter also described 2026 as one of the most critical years in recent European history, arguing Russia's posture signals objective extending beyond Ukraine. I remember back when I was in Iraq, they took over Crimea. Okay, now this thing going on in Ukraine, and it looks like they're trying to get into Belarus or in some other European country. Okay. Again, Russians are, Edomites, and then goes, we can read Habakkuk the 2nd chapter again in regards to him enlarging his desire as hell. All right, we shall never be satisfied. All right, he's trying to take over everything. Russia and Belarus have continued to stage high-profile military activity close to NATO territory, including Zapad 2025 or West 2025 joint drill. So Belarus